What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. A question I'm asked a shocking amount of times by people in my DMs or the live streams is, John, what's undervalued on the market right now that I can go buy? AKA, can I make some money off your expertise and hope that it pans out? Well, a couple of things here real quick. First off, I'm very glad to do that. That's what the channel's here for. It's to help you make decisions better on your own, not just directly through me. So you shouldn't just be using me as a crutch. You should be learning and deciding how to go ahead and make your own decisions rather than just coming back and asking question after question. I still don't mind answering that, but when it becomes a trend of that, I'm hoping that you're learning something from those interactions. B, there's no risk-free, high-reward, crazy payout that's gonna happen, even when you nostalgia pander. Here's an example of a set that I personally don't like conceptually, the Speed Duel Battle City box. I dislike speed duels, how they're treated by Konami, how this was one huge update just trying to throw a truckload of stuff at a format that was kind of floundering as it was. And while it's really awesome to get to dive in, explore, have this box set, there's other things that make it not so risk-free, but I really like it. If I were to spend $5,000 on the market right now, a ton of it would be into these secret rares, and here's why. This is a $30 MSRP box that has only gone up. That means vendors paid around $16.50 per box, but are only rewarded with 5 different of these secret rares and then 3 of the god cards. That means to get all of the RNG secret rares out of this set, you've got to buy about 5 of these boxes in order to get that shot at them. And they seem pretty underpriced for what they are versus their competition within the market. And while they have that speed duel stamp that may turn some people off, the cards themselves look very excellent. Blue Eyes has done nothing but go up. Dark Magician has slowly gone up. The Puke Green Red Eyes, I'm not the biggest fan. I like the jump where it's a dark background on the specific art. It's only gone up, but I think there's better looks throughout this set. Dark Paladin, for example, this card is a huge collectible, and when we jump into its other competing forms, Legendary Collection Yugi's World is the next top secret rare, and then you also have the one out of the Duel Master Guide, which is very hard to get at this point, and then you get into other Dark Revelation Ultras, Original Ultras, crazy things that are hard to get. The Duel Terminal has recently been bought out to the point of $18 as well. You know how I feel about Duel Terminal buyouts. They seem very ephemeral. They tend to really go and bring themselves back down fast. There's competitors versus them even on a collectible card like this. But Yugi's World has had an unlimited printing, and with that rewave, even those are $30+ versus the exact same kind of looking secret rare and amazing art here that I think pretty much will sell itself towards $20 one day. It's never bad to have a secret rare Jinzo, and with that, you see these are around $6, but if we look up other Jinzos, even Tenzo, what people used to make fun of, oh, you have a Tenzo instead of the real thing, I always liked Tenzo. It's a nice, cheap replacement. Look at that, market price $26 and $50. You know that means towards unlimited Jinzos here, where people can still pull them out of those legendary collection packs today that are getting restuffed into Target packs, repackages, and stuff like that. Yeah, $50 on a mint unlim. Wow, another secret Jinzo with a first ed stamp that just has speed duel across from it. These are the competition though, and that's only $6 versus the next one being $26. I see a lot of nostalgia pandering in the set, but a couple of things. There's first edition stamps on this, which means at any point in time, Konami can just do an unlimited wave of the Speed Duel Battle City box. Almost all the printing seemed to be EU print. I haven't seen any North American print, meaning it all seems to have come from one place, similar to Toon Chaos. It doesn't seem like there's a US print unless I'm missing something. And then we look at the legendary decks. Remember the collection one? That went to 180 sealed at one point. Then Konami slammed a rewave of legendary decks 2, and then legendary collections 1. Legendary decks 1, not collection, but they have rewaved legendary collections 2 as it stands. So with this, Konami, with their box sets, does like to rewave a lot of them at some point. That means while there is a first ed stamp here that can help it over time, it could grossly hurt your investment in these classic cards. Still though, I think the risk is worth the potential reward, but the risk is still there when you consider all those factors. Nobleman of Crossout is one of the nicest looking versions. GOAT players really like this. You're not stuck with a Hobby League version, a dual terminal version. You're not stuck, and to your credit, if you like the dual terminal version, I think it does look awesome. Duelist League overinflated prices. You have a nice version for cheap among all these other high-priced ones. And for cheap, you're couple of them, you play 2 of them, you say, that's around $12 for a secret rare that looks amazing. Buster Blader secret out of here looks real nice. It's around $4-5-ish. It's well under 5 for a lot of them. The 10 one is around $20. And then you have another competing secret rare, again from Yugi's World, that is around $12-13. And while Buster Blader has its legacy archetype that got updated and it has a lot of respect, yeah, look at this. Another secret rare version. That's why I think the ceiling on a lot of these, some higher than others, are likely to continue to go up. Breaker the Magical Warrior, secret rare. We've only seen that from Master Collection, which Master Collection 2 for some reason has a lot more respect than 1, and we'll get into Master Collection 1 actually in a bit. And then you have other versions that people have just hyped up over time. They took forever to go up. People kind of slept on these cards. People slept on the TP7 Super. People slept on the DR1 version. And they were cheap for the longest of times. You can even see the market price still around 18 here, even though it's probably much higher now. Then you have the Speed Duel box versus its competing secret rare from the Master Collection, and wow, it's just so much cheaper, and it looks pretty much just as nice, although I guess the stars and the symbol will be foil. Oh no, rather than that classic 10 look. So with all of this, I think there's tons of things I'd go for. I would not go for Foolish Burial because there's a competing secret rare and now a lost art, and the competing secret rare is only around $6 to $7, meaning there's not a huge ceiling for this necessarily, except within the format. I do think the God cards are actually great buys, even though they come with each box. Valkyrion's more so prismatic secret rare look game promo took forever to go up. I still like this card as a classic Yugi card, but I think it will take a long time to reach even $5. But versus that $30 MSRP, where you're only seeing 5 of these per box, I think there's a lot of potential for it to go up, and I think there's a lot of potential for this box sealed to go up. You're just risking a rewave of when Konami might go, yeah, we didn't produce enough, or we need more of these for the Speed Duelist. Like, you are having an inherent risk. That's why there's not just straight up free money. These are longer conversations than I'd like them to be, but still, I personally would be taking that gamble. And if you are, use that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying. Now, going past Breaker, I mentioned Master Collection 1. This is extremely hard to get, and it actually kind of confounds me. As people go for 10 promos, and they're going for video game promos, I feel like these are highly forgotten. So if you want something that's ancient, won't necessarily replenish itself too fast on the market, and you want to gamble there, but it could replenish itself. Exodia is a fan favorite, but we've seen actually markability versus like Blue Eyes and other stuff doesn't necessarily gain that hype from DDS to other versions. There's very few secret rare Exodias though, and here's one of them, and you can get them for just $7-ish and plenty under the $10 mark. And these Master Collections sealed are so high, and that's what jumped the 10 promos. The 10 sealed, they have it on display. There's the memory from the 10s. They're very high in price, yet, wow, the promos were so cheap, and now they're getting bought out. Now they're getting expensive. This 1,000 Eyes Restrict, you're able to actually get a lot of them around under the $15 mark. Barrel Dragon, you're able to get a lot of them under the $5 mark. I think these are also things with actual memories to the show, memories from people who played back in the day that aren't bad versions of what they are for what you could get. But remember, there's competing versions. There are multiple other secret Exodias, but DDS is super hard to get. That UBP1 set, that is crazy hard to get. I actually have a couple of those. And then you get to this version versus like the Legendary Collection Yugi's World that one as well, I think. So there's quite a few secret rares, quite a few being not as many as other versions of Exodia, and this one kind of gets lost in translation. Master Collection 2 seems to get a lot more respect in terms of its promos and pricing going up, but I think some of these, stuff like 1,000 Eye Restrict, definitely worth kind of a looky-loo. In More so regular market watch news, what's actually moving, happening, going crazy. Wizard Buster of Destruction. This card's getting bought out for its Mega Pack version, and these are going as well. Let's give it a little bit of a read. You can target a Buster Blade or monster you control. Equip this monster from your hand or your side of the field to the target. Ignore this and use Union Carrier. While this card is equipped to a monster, monsters in your opponent's graveyard can't activate their effects. Virtual World, Drytron, a lot of the formats. So people are kind of looking at this as, okay, I'm playing Union Carrier, maybe I want to go back to playing this. It's not really as strong as stopping your opponent from, you know, special summoning from the extra deck or anything, but this is still a huge part of the game. Basically, this Abyss Dweller that is lasting on your field till they deal with it. That's why people are grabbing it, and I kind of see that one for one. Wow, that's pretty crazy if you're playing Union Carrier, but a lot of people are using Union Carrier for combos, or they're using it for a different card, so I also see why this isn't just taking over the meta and going insane, but I do think it's an option you might want to have since it only has its 2 printings from way back when. Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon, people are talking about summoning this realistically, that it might be a good penny stock. To that I actually say, I think a lot of the Kazuki Takahashi arts in here probably won't get rewaved right out the gate. Cards like this tend to kind of stay special, so I think it's not a bad buy, and others aren't, and I do kind of respect the armor that this card has. Not the greatest Waking the Dragon target of all time, but I do get why people are hype, and it is a Blue Eyes collectible of all things, so I see why it's gone up over time, and I do see a little bit of potential for it, but I don't see it this overbearing meta problem, and access code talker can just climb over it in a sense, I'm pretty sure. Your opponent cannot target or destroy this card with card effects. Once per turn, you can, I don't read any battle protection here. Yeah, so I don't necessarily buy it overall with the card pool that we have in terms of taking over the meta, but I do see why people see it as an option. Going back to more ancient stuff, people were asking me why the SDSC version of this, a structure deck, Magician Valkyria, is so much more than an Ultra. I think it only came in like a limited version of the structure deck. It didn't come in all of them, and it's just very, very hard to find versus the Jump promo. I personally like to go and get prismatic secret rares of this card from the OCG for my own collection, and I know some of you guys have actually gotten them from me on the Patreon for $20. I ship OCG cards out to people that we either don't get rarities of, arts of, I send the extended arts from ancient times, stuff like that, or ultimate rares we don't have in ultimate. So that's when I like to send to people, but I also kind of collect myself, so I struggle. I'm like, fine, I'll give you my waifu. But personal struggles aside, this version is much harder to get, and that's why it's so much crazier. Galaxy Expedition, speaking of Legendary Duel Season 2 having more impacts, Galaxy Expedition is way up in price. It only has the OTS Pack Super, and then that original 10 Ultra, so people have started to go back for that. And Photon Sanctuary getting rolling buyouts. This is a common I always would suggest, even kind of as a penny stock. While it was towards $5, I'd be like, 2 tokens is crazy in Yu-Gi-Oh! With Link Summoning, even with the restriction. It can find a way, and people are going kind of crazy over it. Cyber Rev System, secret rares. The supers bumped a little bit, and the secret first have gone up. Actually, there's more listings than yesterday. Well, I say that, the lowest listing for first edition last night, I think, was 6 to 7 on stream. Like 6 some odd, and here's some 5. So actually kind of chilling back. That's how fast the market moves. That's why these videos kind of only last for so much time, unless it's a discussion like earlier in the video that you can come revisit. Like, these prices change so fast on you. Also, I wanted to bring up how side sets are getting more targeted. We saw Shadows in Valhalla most recently, and a lot of the Valkyrie stuff getting buyouts. Now we see Kizaru kind of getting looks while it's quote-unquote towards its market price. We also see this up towards $10, $11, $12 versus a market price of 8. Hatsume. So 6 Samurai is some of my favorite in the past, no secret. The secret 6 Samurais going up in price is kind of interesting, and I wonder why that is. Just no reprint over time, fan favorite archetype, things are going kind of crazy. It's interesting. Time Thief Perpetua. We don't say Starlight rares are going up in price every day anymore. It went up, and there was a copy last night on stream for $175, and it has gone now too. It's towards $200 and quickly $250, and then it could jump towards $500. I don't think all of these are going to go, especially with Core having 9 of these, but with this card being where it's at, I wonder what the hype is past just, oh, there's some new support on the way. If that's really it, and that's why people are going for it, I think it'll chill back out. It could rehype towards it actually coming out, but I don't think the new Time Thieves are going to be necessarily taking over anytime soon. I do respect the deck. I like how it plays, but this isn't necessarily a fan favorite card in itself. Redoer feels more so that with how it mixed into meta decks. I do wonder its future, though. I feel like it's undervalued in a sense, but then again, the Starlight market itself is struggling. What do you guys think of what's happening with Starlights? That's what's been really hard to call. When events are back, since we can double sleeve, do you think that market's just going to take off and go crazy again? Or do you think as more and more Starlights come out and people can pick and choose their favorites, that others will kind of settle? Because we've seen Win just go down and down as others came out, where most people, myself included, were predicting as others came out, people would go, ah, fine, I'll finish my collection. Instead, they've actually just gone down instead for the most part, while others like the Water Charmer's actually gone up. A little bit more movement here from Rise of the Duelist. That's a weird thing to say on Market Watch, huh? Forbidden Droplet is up towards 115, 120 again, and we also see Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, almost towards 20. I told you guys to get these at 8s, told you to get them at 10s, now they're towards 18, people giving this another look. A great, amazing, generic synchro indeed, and Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon's done nothing but slowly go up as well too. This set seems like the set that keeps on giving if you actually got in, but remember, it was short printed on its original release, and we never got another release. We're still waiting, we're hoping for reprints in sets like Ghosts from the Past, but they're likely to go for Ignition Assault, or at the furthest Eternity Code, because there's so little in Ignition Assault in terms of actual cards besides Lightning Storm to reprint, so maybe they skip towards Eternity Code. I just don't think so. I think they'll save it for Battles of Legend, and then the Megatons battles really suffered last year, and then 10,000 Dragons saved it completely, but then you're still looking at, like, when will reprints happen, where? Rise is likely to take a bit unless Konami pulls out some kind of stop. I hope they do. That's what we say. Konami can do whatever they please. Hopefully there's some kind of movement. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring Secret Rare Unlimiteds have gone up, and first editions have gone down. I find this super weird. Before, you couldn't get a first edition under 75, and over time, I haven't looked at this in a bit, it's just kind of got motivated sellers, but they're top-rated sellers. It's just continuously fallen down to where you can even find some sellers trying to get like almost an unlimited price for the most part. So if you're in the market for Secret Ash, pay a little more and go first edition. It'll hold value better, and maybe when events are back, people are trying to flex, it could go back up way faster, but we've seen just slow fallout on this card. Masked Hero Darklaw for the Duelist Saga version. Duelist Saga is a fun set to kind of watch. Another $15 MSRP March reprint set that initially wasn't so well received, but has done well for itself over time. This card's been bought out to the point of 15, and people were pointing out to me, Mage Power specifically on the stream, that it is a version that is technically the highest rarity after the ultimate rare, so it's kind of like settling for second place. Dark Hole came up in a conversation of, are secret rare Dark Holes undervalued? And to that I say, LOB format really feels like the only format people would want to bling this out for, although it exists in further later formats. That's the only real reason I could see going forward. It is low on quantities though for both secrets. They are from legendary collections. I could see it going up over time, but I think original Super, Dark Beginning Super, if anything, the Dark Beginning Super is grossly undervalued for what it is. Dark Beginning sets kind of get left behind for the Dark Revelation sets. There were way more of these opened, as it were. Oh, looks like, yeah, okay, I remember on stream we saw this was bought out too and found it. So this recently got bought out, and no, not on the stream, we found out it was on the stream. When I clicked it, I was like, oh, okay, it got targeted. That's coming back to me. But with these, the secret rares, I could see it, but again, past formats have to take off and get more popularized for stuff like that, I feel like. And somebody asked me, is it worth buying the Zombie Horde structure deck sealed at $30? If I get a deal at 30, is it worth it? And to that, I also say no. I would just buy the singles here, because if you consider these two, that's about $15 per pair. Well, that's $45, and then you're at half price of 3 at 30, so 3 at 30 is 90. Two play sets of, well, a play set of each of these would be 45 total together. Then you have $45 to go and spend on your other singles as you would please from the decks, and you would be winning. It's more that sealed structures, if they've been good rogue for a while and haven't been reprinted, they do well for themselves. But do remember that Konami can reprint. Oh, the dinosaur structure got reprinted. Hero Strike reprinted. Anytime they want, a structure can just get rewaved, unlimited, if they see the demand. So holding on to these for the longest, not the best option, but I do see the plays that you're making, and I do think that it's almost more interesting now to invest in sealed structures if you can get them at like the $5.50, $6 that stores are getting them for, and then kind of hold on and wait if you think there's a ton of potential there. That's kind of a fun gamble to start taking now. That being said, thanks for watching today's Market Watch. I know today's and yesterday's ran longer, but obviously there's much more big conversations that I've been having on here, along with more happening on market, and it's starting to get hard to keep up. I'll try to keep the news coming to you guys and go daily. Today I didn't even have time to ask the Discord for stuff to add into this one. This is all from the stream and talking to people and things I found myself. So this is kind of how crazy the market is right now on relevant moves and discussions. Also, besides the Starlight rares, what do you guys think on this? I want to know. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation and where it went. I do think this is worth a heavy look, but again, weigh risks versus reward, guys.